This is the last Disney Channel original movie. Uh, this is the last Disney Channel original movie I have scheduled to review. There may be more, but for now, this is the one that I picked to do for now. So, You Lucky Dog is a story about a pet psychiatrist named Jack Morgan, who, played by Kirk Cameron, who, when he was younger, could actually communicate with dogs mentally. He is, but he can no longer do it until he meets Lucky, whose owner, Mr. Windsor, and his butler, played by Uncle Phil, whose real name escapes me right now. Yeah, it was Uncle Phil. So, he connects with this dog, and Mr. Windsor falls ill and dies. Ends up dying. And the dog is willed everything. The house, the money, everything is willed to the dog, and Jack is put in the will to take care of the dog, because he's the only one, besides the butler, that he trusts. Our villains for the film are three relatives, nieces and nephews, I think, played by John Delancey, Taylor Negron, and an actress who at first I thought was Anna Gasteyer from Saturday Night Live, but it's not, and I didn't actually look up what her name was, but these three are the main villains trying to find a way to get the inheritance that they believe belongs to them. And it's a hijinks film where, because they have this where if the dog and Jack are connected somehow, and the dog is too excited, it will take over Jack's body, and Jack will, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, ah, it becomes like dog-like, and and yeah, that's a plot line. And Jack begins sort of a romance with Mr. Windsor's lawyer, Allison Kent, played by Kirk Cameron's real wife, Chelsea Noble. Because this was a time where his wife had to be his, if you don't know, towards the end of Growing Pains, Kirk Cameron found God. And so once he got married, his love interest has to be played by his wife, because it makes sense. You gotta be, loyal to your wife, stuff like that. So, makes sense. But yeah, it's a very hijinks type film. Stuff happening, stuff getting knocked over, people running around, people getting attacked, stuff like that. It's one of those early Disney Channel movies. Everything was funny. If people got knocked on the head, there's a whole scene where the relatives trying to break into the house to kidnap the dog at night, and of course the dog gets excited and it takes over Jack, and both the dog and Jack just go after him. And yeah, just hijinks. It's a decent film. I've always liked this one. This is actually the second ever made Disney Channel original film, right after Under Wraps. So, came out in 1998. Yeah, and everything culminates in this trial. Throughout the film, the dog feels sad because he believes that he was the cause of his master's death. We see this flashback where he wanted to go outside, and so the master takes him out, and that's where he keels over and dies. Although, if you follow the structure of the film, it's very easy to figure out why and how he died. If you follow, the characters and everything, it's easy to figure out how he died, what happened. Everything comes to a head when Jack agrees to do his connection thing with Lucky in the trial. And they do a thing where they have Jack turn the other way and have Lucky sniff something that Jack wouldn't see, and it, the connection. And then Lyle, who is one of the relatives, played by John Delancey, he puts like Alka-Seltzer or something into his cup, glass or whatever he's got there, and that triggers Lucky to see a flashback, which somehow Jack can also see because they're connected, where he put something in Mr. Windsor's coffee that killed him. Which, like I said, if you were following along, and if you pay attention to the film and you see that these relatives really want the money, you really want the inheritance, it's easy to figure out that they're responsible. Well, really, it's Lyle that's responsible, but they are his. Because, from what I can gather, the other two didn't know that it was poison. But they were technically in on it. So, they're out in trouble. Lyle gets a gun. There's the I don't want to call it a trick, but it's just like, they make you believe that Lucky got shot and he's gonna die, but he's just fine because it's a Disney movie, and yeah. And they end on this note that's, I always thought was kind of cheesy, but Allison's daughter wants a dog, but her house is not big enough. So Jack buys a bunch of dogs that all live at the mansion, and Allison and her daughter can come and visit whenever they want. It's cheesy, yes. It's a cheesy movie. We even get a cameo from Christine Cavanaugh, the voice of Chucky Finster, and Dexter, boy genius herself, may she rest in peace, as Jack's assistant during the first 10 minutes of this movie. That's pretty cool. And, like I said, you get some other people who are now dead, like Uncle Phil and Taylor Negron. Oh. 3 dead people. That's kind of depressing. And even the guy who played Mr. Windsor, he's no longer with us too. So, the relative's lawyer is played by Granville Van Dusen, I think is the name. But yeah, he's one of those evil lawyers out there help them get the money. But of course, he had no idea that Lyle killed his uncle. So yeah, give it a 7. It's decent. It's schlocky 90s. It's one of those. It was made in the late 90s, but it's very much one of those early 90s schlocky Disney Channel movies that you could have earlier, but it was made. It's very much one of the last, like, the early Disney, like, this and Under Wraps are very cheesy movies. Once you get to Brink, then it starts to get more. Maybe Brink was the first one that wasn't as cheesy, and it came out the same year after this. So, like, maybe Brink was the first one to make it less cheesy. I mean, Disney Channel movies are cheesy in their own way anyway, but yeah. So it's a 7. So what are your thoughts on You Lucky Dog? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Whatever it is, I don't know what I'm doing next.